Welcome, acolytes. Today I am reacting to Mama Occa about someone who wants to censor video games, and they're on the right side of things. So, if you're wondering why I'm doing this, because I don't pick sides, I only say what the F I think is good or bad. And we have right now, there are people that just act like wokies to 100%. I may be like in the middle, but for F's sake, if you go in the extreme, I'm gonna still talk about you. And this woman presumably does it, I don't know, because one of the viewers from mine, agent of social media chaos for F's sake. Sorry, Acolyte, I just cannot get through with your name. It's too hard for me. As it is, let's just see what she has to say about it, and we will see if I agree or disagree. And by the way, already, perfect starter.
Oftentimes, we forget as a people that nobody is on our side when it comes to things that we love and cherish. That guy with...
I will disagree with that. You have to pick specific people that are on your, on par with you, that think exactly like you. Not exactly, I mean that think, let's just say it like this. The things that I cherish are family and dogs. I have a lot of people who would also cut someone's hand off if they ever touch my dogs. It doesn't mean that there are 100% overlaps, but to a degree, yes.
The big stick that says he'll fight for you? Yeah, he'll probably say that until you get close enough to where he will too probably f you in the ass with said stick.
I agree with that statement. Yes, if it comes to a person of power, yes, they need you in a certain way, and if you do that, then you're worthless, basically.
This is something that has kept me somewhat cautiously optimistic on when it came to the new 2024 election. I knew, like with the left, that some people on the right would want to censor things in order to fit a narrative and craft an ideal world for...
Oh, for fuck's sake, you're way... No, I'm gonna be honest, as you... I also accept, I waited for it, but I still had the small, little hope that it will maybe take a bit of a longer time before it happens, but it's already happening.
For them specifically. I'm personally grateful to know that most people I follow reject this idea, embrace the beauty of free expression, and enjoy their freedom in man. However, I will retain my cautious optimism until I see that our new God Emperor Donald Trump invites a lolly to the White House for dinner. If you're curious what spurred these thoughts, it all has to do with the recent brewing controversy that seems to have been started by Melonie Mac and a few other right-leaning creators that when they decided to comment on a post from Pirate Nation showcasing an idle moveset from the game The First Descendant. I think to fully understand the autism that I am looking at and so many others have been commenting on, I would like to take you through the tweets on Mrs. Mac's account and give you my opinions on them. And trust me, they're very stupid.
Good.
Before we get started with today's Trash Fire, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on notifications so that you get notified when I upload videos like these. So this all seemed to have stemmed from a post where Pirate Nation shared a clip from The First Descendant, a game that I have definitely played, and while I do believe that it is quite very provocative, and at the...
I mean, perfectly showcased this one, but I don't care. I mean, The First Descendant is a good game. That's what I'm mainly about. If it has some, let's just say, extras like you see now, so be it. If you don't like it, don't play it. Simple as that.
At the very least, a little bit etchy at times with its cast. I personally don't believe that the clip that they decided to show was that far away. If I can remember correctly, that is one of the Descendants where her main jive is dancing in order to get combos off. So seeing her dance around and jiggle her is probably not the most out of the world thing to see. I'll be honest with you. If she wasn't very happy to do her moveset, I'd probably be a little bit more concerned and upset.
This woman speaks truth, yes. This is the thing. Yeah, the descendant that they shown, I don't remember the name of hers, but yes, she casts her spells, and there's a very specific casting method where she looks quite happy by doing it. Dancing, moving a lot. Imagine, maybe it's a bit of an oversight, but Shanati. If you know that genie game, it's basically about a young genie that dances. Can I actually find it? Shanati. I probably miss. There is it. There she is. So, yes, this is also a dancer, and I think that the freaking developers of the Last Descendants, this was probably the freaking inspiration for that character. And yes, this character actually wiggles her body everywhere. But I'm gonna be honest, it looks more cute than anything else. Like it's cutesy, it's not sexy. So maybe that's the difference here. And from the other game, looks basically, well, I mean, more in the sexy part. But we will watch this. Yeah, look at this graphic. Yeah, this just looks way cuter. Oh fuck, music. Good. But I don't see dances of that. Shanati. Dance, moves. Let's just see this. Yep, a bit pixelated, but it's fine. Yeah, this looks a bit crippled, to be honest, but it looks more cute than sexy. That's my point. Oh! The wiggle. I love this one. But okay. This looks cute. Like cutesy. Not anything else. But okay. Sorry, I just went off the point. That's my point at the moment.
Dread Roberts, who I have absolutely no idea who this guy is. I know just from a cursory glance on his Twitter that he is a Christian conservative that does love to talk about pop culture. I have seen that a lot of people that are also in my sphere of talking about pop culture, they are also people that follow him. So I am going to assume that, like many other creators in this space, he is somebody that is very passionate about making sure that we watch out for woke ideology and woke gaming.
That's a good assumption to come to.
And I think that is something that, for the most part, everybody can accept. We don't want wokeness in our video games. We don't want people to uglify our characters and make the games just, like, dumbed down. I think that's something everybody can agree with. However, he would say something that I feel like a lot of people are massively disagreeing with, and Melonie Mac would, of course, respond to that. But we'll start with what he had to say first. He starts by saying, quote, "Any person with a modicum of decency in regards to the tweet I just shared would say, no, this is not where the future of gaming should be headed. The constant promotion of half-baked women as the, quote, greener side of gaming is getting ridiculous, and I'm beginning to think that these people who say they want to save gaming don't actually want to save it. So many claim to care about the morals in the future generations and not giving an inch of progress to the devs who push woke ideology or whatever else. And then they turn around and tell young men and women to support titles that throw this stuff in your face. Most of what I've seen for months now from these accounts are butt cheeks and cleavage. Seriously, how is this making gaming better? All we're doing is pushing normies in the same direction, but on a parallel track. People may argue we just want to push back on the ugly woman agenda just to make a point to the lefty weirdos. Okay, so where do we draw the line? Because there doesn't appear to be one. This is why I say that we need real adults with real ambition/aspirations and a mature outlook on the future to lead the change in the gaming industry. People who have their priorities straight and their arousals in check. Melonie Mac would retweet.
And first of all, I agree with this guy. He is so on point with this freaking hypocriticism of this one effing side. And I mean, don't get me wrong, because everybody is to a certain point a bit hypocritical, and maybe some things just doesn't make sense, or there are some points that somebody just doesn't want to cross. But not to this, like, to the amount of freaking hypocrisy and just destroying people's lives for basically nothing. that's an entirely different story. It's just the freaking degrees of those two things are just like being a bit hypocritical is like down, somewhere down on the floor, and just wanting to get them fired because of hypocriticism is somewhere high in the sky of fucking hypocriticism.
Tweet his take and say, I agree with this take. I've been fighting with y'all against the woke mob turning female characters into troons, and I like characters to look attractive. But I don't want to be lumped in with those pushing for practically softcore porn in a character design. That's degenerate. Curvy female characters like the classic Lara Croft, ? Great. But curvy characters almost completely naked doing stripper dances, no thanks. Muscular male characters, awesome. But these mods with Leon Kennedy and Jockstrap, degenerate. No thanks. We can want characters to look good without advocating for porn.
Before she says something, do I agree with her? If she is actually just saying the thing that she is saying right now, as she is written down, I'm gonna be honest, it's her opinion, she can have it, but I don't agree with it in the slightest. If a character looks sexy, it's differently than porn. Just look in the difference between, I don't know, Twitch and OnlyFans. But, okay, Twitch and OnlyFans maybe aren't the best thing, but if you have a normal Twitch creator that actually isn't sexual, like in Titan Media, Veronic, how is she called? Vera Dark. This girl, at least in my opinion, yeah, come on, looks sexy, but she doesn't sell porn, so this is the kind of standards I want. Or sexy, I mean, she doesn't have a sexy outfit, so she's professional. If she did a bit of something that wouldn't matter to me. So, you know. As long as it doesn't go out to the porn site.
And again, like I mentioned with Dread, I just disagree with this premise on its face. I don't believe that this is necessarily where video games are going, where characters are going to be like overly...
Correct. But because I probably didn't get across around, if you have specifically porn games, then I don't even care about that. Porn games are porn games. That's a different category. I mean normal games.
Just I mean, they're just not going to be. They won't have the ability to release in the States. Maybe in Japan. I mean, like, Japan has plenty of hentai games, but like they're not like as widely spread as some people would like to think. There's plenty of ecchi hentai games that definitely exist, but like we're not approaching we're not approaching a place where these people are justified in saying that we need to basically like sidestep this. And here's the problem that the big problem that I have with this. And this is something that Melonie Mac would say, oh, I'm not asking for the censorship of games. In fact, there would be at least once or twice where Melonie Mac would be like, oh, no, I don't want you to censor video games. I don't want video games to be censored. I just don't want us to go right on the direct opposite of what these quote-unquote troons want. The problem that I have with her take isn't so much that she's saying that we need to ban games. I do feel like she is saying the quiet part out loud, that in her personal opinion, we do need to ban this kind of thing and we do need to censor this. I think that if anybody will try and say that she's not saying that, you're coping. She is almost quite literally saying that we need to keep video games from getting, in her opinion, too degenerate.
I think she's interpreting a bit more in the thing that she's saying than I would say, but as I said in my comment, that's her opinion, she can have it, but I wouldn't give a leaf of thought in it, because at the end of the day, if people like her, like, how is she called again? Melonia. If she wants to censor games in that case, hey, make your own game, do it, and then look at the sales. Sorry, won't happen. It just won't happen. It's irrelevant if she specifically writes something down in a tweet. Won't change shit.
The problem that I have with that is the assignment of what is to and what is not to degenerate is right now going to be decided by people that are like Melonie Mac. And this is a problem that I've been worried about ever since the election. Now, to be fair, I've had this problem with the left. I have this problem with the right. They're both very different problems. I was worried about the left because on the left you have the uglification of characters. Like, quite literally, look at Intergalactic. That woman is one of the most ugly pieces of shit I've ever seen.
Yep. I agree.
Ever.
Get it
and
away.
then on the
Good,
right, you have them advocating that you need to ban all porn or whatever. And typically, on the right, it'll either be in the name of religion or it will be in the name of children. And I really don't like using either of those as an excuse for banning anything. And the reason why is because it feels very hypocritical. Very, very, very hypocritical. As somebody who is still likes to identify as a Christian and still believes in God and Christ, I personally feel like, and this is just my personal opinion, and you can disagree with me in the comments if you'd like, I don't care, but it is my opinion that Christ really does not care what you do with your own personal time. I'm sure that he would like you to be more Christ-like, and your goal is to become more Christ-like, but the overall understanding that I've had with Christ is that his goal is love and to preach love to other people.
If you're doing the religion route right like now, be careful. At one point in my life, I wanted to be a freaking priest. And yes, I still have those freaking things in the head. And Christ doesn't want you to preach love, he wants obedience. Simple as that. And you may disagree with me or not, but I'm not hearing the words that somebody says, I'm hearing actions. And at the end of the day, if you read the Bible, it's not about love. It's not about pure respect. I am happy that people interpret it like that, but it's not about that. And I hope that people still continue to interpret it like you do, because that's actually a positive force of, well, bettering oneself. And at that point, I don't care if somebody betters themselves through religion or not, but that they better themselves in any form that this might get. So does this argument, in my opinion, hold ground? No. Because a Christian and a Christian, you can both freaking think entirely different things and interpret the book entirely differently. As long as you believe in the same God, that's relevant. You're both Christians. So your version of Christianity is just to Melanie totally irrelevant. This argument is just it's simply irrelevant from a logical standpoint. Now, I don't hate it. I'm also not a purist, like the first point she made. I am not a purist of things to say that everything should be allowed, blah, 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 blah. She didn't say it, but I think that there is enough implication to actually hear it. Yes, you shouldn't censor too much, but there are certain things that you should censor, or at least that they should be prohibited by law to a certain degree. Now, I'm not saying that showing tits and ass in your video game should be censored. No. Do I think that porn games should be censored? No, of course not. I just want them correctly marked. That's all. If somebody then decides to buy this game, that's on them. Do as you wish. So yeah, but I also agree that Melanie shouldn't actually be be the voice, but as I already stated, I think that her voice is just irrelevant, at least for now.
And teaching love is something that you typically don't teach at the end of a barrel or at the end of saying that censorship is required. I feel like the most middle ground that one can have is, as long as things aren't being censored, and by censored, I mean like what Melonie Mac is asking for. Like, I don't have a problem with it. You can choose to be a pious little Christian and sit in your house and hide away from everything, or you can choose to be selective, invite what you want into your home for you, your family, and your children. Or you can be like me and you just don't care and you keep yourself professional, and then you're unprofessional when the time to be unprofessional comes. Anyway,
I like this woman. That's true words. True words. Mama Occa. Let's just say I'm gonna subscribe and like this. This is already gigantically. I love this. This is perfect. Love this.
Wait, with that bit of a long rant out of the way, I wanted to continue talking about the tweets that she made and go through them. Under her initial tweet, where people would start replying, some of these replies here are very good. First one by Guyver would say, "I'm not comfortable with censoring artistic endeavors of any kind. I don't think society's gone too far with hedonism. But I like to think I like God. But like God, I'd rather people choose to move away from it on their own, not be forced to. We were given the free will to reject sin." And then Melonie Mac would say, "You should read you should read First Kings and Second Kings and see what happened when kings weren't obedient in stopping perversion." And then she would say, and then people would say, "You're against this, yet you defend Stellar Blade," which is very hypocritical, because I would say First Descendant, while it is definitely a very provocative game, Stellar Blade is 10 times more provocative. All of the costumes that they have oftentimes are showing very little, and very funny what she chooses to be selective on.
Yeah, and I mean, those are the censored versions. The other ones were way more free. So,
in fact, her defense is very funny, where she says the base game and most of the outfits are very normal. Really?
Yep.
Really, very, very normal. I don't think she's paying. I don't think she's paying attention. I just don't think she's paying attention. Another person would say, showing a gif of 2B from Nier. Bayonetta, Nier, and Celebrate were just fine. If people want fan service, just let them. It's called, quote, having free will, and people can choose to buy a game whether it has fan service or not. Another person, J-Man, would say, showing a picture of PC Gamer with Lara Croft, one of her self-described favorite game franchises in the world. Quote, and yet your favorite franchise is notorious for being horny bait for adolescent boys.
Acolytes, for fuck's sake. I'm gonna be honest, I love those guys. They are actually arguing with proof, not with freaking emotions. I love this. Because you can disagree with someone. That's fine. But arguing with proof and good arguments is freaking essential. Love this. I love those people that actually went in, threw their freaking guns in the ring and said, yep, I'm gonna show her, not just cry about it like a little bitch. And I have to do a video about Lois because I fucked up in one of my videos. Because I didn't make my points on that one clear, so yeah.
Melonie Mac would respond by saying, they use some sexy marketing images, but the actual games have nothing like that. Also, I wouldn't be offended by a bikini for swimming levels if they had them. J-Man would say, they grew her boobs each game for the first 3. It used to be a joke that by the 4th she needed to carry them around in a rocket-equipped wheelbarrow, although I'm probably overstating a popular nerd joke, but they definitely knew what they were doing. Melody would say, no, 2 and 3 literally had the exact same character model, and one was a lot more low-res, but proportions were comparable. Why are you lying? J-Man would say, I'm not. It's literally a popular trope in the official PlayStation mag. I didn't play god-awful games, but I remember the marketing and the fan base. Melody said, if you're going to say something outlandish, at least know what you're talking about instead of embarrassing yourself. Whatever magazines or people said doesn't change that she didn't look overly sexualized whatsoever. This is more than fine, and you've made a fool of yourself. Now, chat. The images that she shows of Lara Croft, I think is really funny, because the images that she shows are, while they're not exactly one-to-one to the provocative image that she said that she does not like in gaming, the one from the First Descendant, it is...
I mean, it's provocative enough. Let's just say it like this. It's not... This but it's the step before this.
It is very similar, and I again think that she's just trying to die on a hill that she doesn't need to die on. And Blast Hard Cheese, quite a funny, interesting name, would show a quote retweet from Melonie Mac, where she would show a picture of a woman in a bikini, very low poly-res image, if I might say so, where she says, "I don't know why people use this image as a gotcha with crumbs. This is a stylized female character that looks cute. With the right rigging and animation, I would love to play a game in this style almost over anything gritty and realistic we see in most modern mainstream games today." Obviously, this isn't the final result, and he seems to be going for a bit much more detailed graphics. But
in the most games, no, most games don't have women fighting in a bikini, and I'm literally meaning word by word most games, because most games have. I won't say they have a lot more on the women, but they have more than this.
And even if that wasn't the cause, I love games that look like this and would buy a fun game like this in a heartbeat. In fact, I wish we had more games with styles like this. And I'm sure that you can see why this is quite a big deal. Quite literally talking about a game where the woman is in a bikini, and she, which is obviously very provocative. And, you know, hypocrisy, Melonie Mac. I think that I think you need to sit down. But she wouldn't sit down. But she would not sit down. Instead, she would decide to start quote retweeting or replying to everybody under her. One of the tweets that she ended up replying to, which is what put me on the radar for this, was my tweet where I would retweet her and quite blatantly just say, nothing to say other than L take. I thought you were on the side of anti-censorship. Because that was what I thought. A lot of people around me, a lot of friends of mine actually told me that Melonie Mac was a cool person, that she was anti-censorship and all that kind of stuff. And when I saw this, I just thought that all my friends that said that were wrong. Not stupid, but just wrong. And she would reply by saying, "I'm on..."
Yeah, I agree with her because as Mama Occa... For fuck's sake, this sounds so wrong. Occa. Okay, let's call her... Mami Occa. Irrelevant, good. Mami Occa, as she said, your friends, just because they show you something like this, maybe they missed something. Because not everybody is actually sitting down there and freaking 24/7 on Twitter and looking at every single tweet that a person did. So, not stupid, maybe just uninformed a bit or didn't have the full information. They still thought, no, she's cool, she did this and this. That's fine. That's not a reason to actually instantly say, no, stupid people, no.
On the side of Jesus and not supporting perversion. You can have attractive characters without being pornographic. I'm 100% anti-porn. Legal Mindset would also reply under this with, I believe to be the best and probably most based take out of this, saying, selective censorship is still censorship. In a free market, one can simply choose not to pay or play for it. Melanie has every right to be personally opposed, which is very true. She does have every right to be personally opposed, and I 100% agree with Legal on this. But the good news is that the market long rejected these brands of pious censorships in the 90s, far before DEI. And Andrew says something that I feel like is very important, and that is that we have rejected the mindset that Melonie Mac has had. And I do agree. I do agree. And I will only harp on this for a moment before moving on. But the tactics that Melonie Mac is using is very similar to stuff that we saw in the 90s with things like the Satanic Panic, all of the people freaking out over Pokemon, D&D, and how Monster Energy drinks, GTA, all of these things Christian conservatives freaked out on. And what did it lead to? I feel like in part, and people can prove me wrong if you want to in the comments, but I feel like in part, this kind of satanic panic that these people do leads to people like what we see today in the West. It leads to people like Naughty Dog that make games like Intergalactic or games like The Last of Us, where the characters look ugly and the story is messy and broken and disgusting. This is what comes from it. When you have a group of people that constantly push and push and push into the hearts and minds of men, not only do a lot of people reject that kind of ideology, but it makes them worse. It's
simple. I'm gonna simplify this. It's the same thing, it just carries a different color. That's all. The satanic panic movement, blah blah blah. It's exactly the same thing as the woke crowd. It's one-to-one the same thing. And the thing is, people will go to those extremes. There you have it.
Makes them worse. I can only dream of what world we would be in if we didn't have the satanic panics that we did of the 90s. And now the worry that I see is that we're bringing it right back. The pendulum, so to speak, has swung right far back, and people are taking as much advantage of that as they can to try and push the ideology that we need to censor things.
Correct.
Or that we
Yes.
need to ban things, and that we need to be anti this and anti that. My personal opinion is that we should allow people to be whatever they want, and by trying to push yourselves onto people like this, Melanie,
Let the people be whatever they want to be, except if you harm somebody else. Because this is important. This is something that a lot of people just cannot, for the love of them, understand. Do it, but do it in a way that you don't harm somebody else, and it's fine.
it is leading to it is leading to more Neil Druckmanns. It is leading to more Bungies where everybody sucks and people in droves are leaving the game. It is leading to more of these situations, and unfortunately, I don't think people will learn from that. And I don't think everybody will learn from that. Melanie would begin to spiral on the 12th and finish out her post by basically repeating the same thing over and over and over again, saying that trans flag and LGBT flag are porn watchers. They're one and the same because they commit the same sins with a different paint job. It's all an abomination to God. I won't validate people on their way to hell. I will instead encourage them to repent and seek Jesus. And there are quite a few more tweets that are just like that. Her and her buddies would also just begin to share a ton of more in my opinion, anti-Christ rhetoric. Because let me be real here. All right. Again, as somebody who is a Christian, my biggest problem with this is these people are using Christ in order to push a censorship campaign. Do not get it twisted. These people are asking for censorship. These people are asking for things to be removed, taken down, or pushed away from the medium. And people see it for what it is. People understand and see it for what it is. And it's very sad that people like Dread Roberts, who is getting into a fight with Smash JT, or people like The Quartering, who is deciding to just signal boost Melonie Mac and say how right she is.
Oh, well, at some point, now the freaking right is going on their throats. History just repeats itself. It has a different color, but the same thing happens.
It's just you're okay to say these things. Well, excuse me. You're not okay to ask for censorship. You are okay to be against these things, but I will never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, understand why these people who call themselves Christians will moralize over the use of using Christ in order to say why we need to beat people to death with Jesus. And I find that kind of despicable, personally. Yep. It's very despicable to see that the tactics of the 90s conservative have not died off. I think there is a reason why nobody takes Matt Walsh seriously. I think there's a reason why the right continues to lose in some of these more big debates. And it's just because normies don't care about your Christ. Normies don't care about you trying to spread your religion in order to get votes.
Most normies don't care. That's correct. And there is still a very, very, very bitter taste from the time where, well, Christians just did a lot of bad things and just acted like wokies. I am one of those generations that still, if I hear something religious, I have instantly a negative opinion about it. Instantly. Not about the person per se, because I know how it is to actually grow up in a religious household to a certain degree. But yeah.
What they care about are the things that are important to them. And if you want to appeal to the masses, which is what these people should be wanting to do, if you want to make your money and keep your grift going, you should be recognizing that people don't want this. They don't want to be moralized to. They don't want to be talked down to. It didn't work when they were children. It doesn't work when they're adults. And by continuing to do this, you are only galvanizing and shrinking your fan base until you have nothing left. Or when you need to switch to the other side, which is something I personally believe that Melonie Mac.
Listen, Occa Mama. If your enemy does a mistake, don't stop it. Let them make their mistake.
Will do again. But that is pretty much going to do it. Like I said again, this whole thing is just very, very sad, very depressing. I get very tiring and honestly quite pissed off when I see people trying to use my savior as a way to try and justify picking up a bat to swing at people. It's not very cool, not very fun, and I wish people would stop doing it. I know it's going to continue on forever. I'm sure that he doesn't feel particularly happy about it, but you know, I'm not going to speak for my savior. You know, whatever.
I mean, yeah, you shouldn't speak for your savior. Don't become a preacher, please, for fuck's sake.
Instead, I will reiterate, in my personal opinion, to be the most important commandments that Christ gave to people. And those are to first love your God above all else, and second, to love your fellow man. And if you keep both of those things in mind, then you'll probably be okay. But what do you guys think? I'm very curious to know.
I think you should just love your fellow people. The first one is for a lot of people, a lot of normies, by the way, that you argued just for, and you're preaching right now. Please stop it. Because your arguments can also go against you. Don't preach this shit. Just argue normally. And yeah, otherwise, I agree on a lot of the things that she actually said. So,
what you guys think down in the comments. This has been quite a little bit of a long one. I hope I chop it up decently well. But I'm curious to see what you guys think about all this. Give me some comments. Tell me what you think down below. And I will try and read and reply to as many as I can. It's getting to the point where replying to some of these comments is kind of hard because there are a lot of you. But I try to reply to you guys and favor all of them. I at the very least read all of your comments. So know that. Thank you so much for watching today.
Acolytes, I'm going to be honest, I like this, but this is already a very, very nice arguing method, like for the most part. As I said, except for the preachy part that I despise preachy parts. But I'm sure I already did that for once or twice, but using it, I mean, you can preach, but don't preach as an argument. Let's just say it like this. I dislike the argument part of it. And at the end of the day, acolytes, hope you had fun. Good night.